Hi everyone, and welcome to the Get Connected and Expand Your Network demonstration. One of the main reasons why thousands of people around the world use Leonard is to automate the ability to connect with people on LinkedIn. The idea is that there are over 500 million people in the network, and what you want to do is connect with the right people that suit your needs or that are potentially clients of yours, and build a virtual relationship with them that could potentially turn into business. So this demonstration is all about the entire end-to-end process on how to actually grow your network. How do you actually add more connections to your network? How do you become more known, and everything around that. Before I begin, I'm going to share with you who I am. My name is Marco. I'm one of the lead developers here at Leonard. And obviously, I have a deep understanding of how the tool works. So I'm going to share with you all of the goodies as to what you should be doing to efficiently and effectively grow your network fast. The things we're going to cover today are quite a few, so stay until the end because we want to show you everything that you can do with this tool. And I'll go through the steps one by one, but the first thing we're going to show you is how to conduct a search for your prospects. Now we're going to be giving a light touch on this. We're going to show you some of the capabilities, the options available. We're not going to go into too much depth as to how you should segment, but I will give you the principles that you should use to build great searches. The next thing we want to do is show you how Leonard can help you filter certain people to become more effective in your search and the results that you're going to ultimately get out of it. The next thing we're going to show you is how many connections you should be sending. People don't know, but there are some limits that LinkedIn restricts users based on their membership. So we're going to give you some insights of what those are. We're going to show you how to send connection messages. What should you be saying in these messages? How do you connect with people? And how do you get the highest conversion rates when you're sending connection requests? The next thing we're going to cover is the welcome messages. What do you say to people once they've connected? And what should you consider when you're creating these messages? We're also going to show you how to automate these welcome messages to make your life easier, but also show you what you should or why you shouldn't or what you wouldn't do automation for the welcome message. There are some things to consider, and we'll share them with you. Something that's quite useful in Leonard is that it has its own CRM, and tagging your new contacts is quite important. Tagging all of your contacts is important because it's all about segmentation. So we're going to show you the different types of tagging, how do you tag people, and so on. We're going to show you an end-to-end campaign as well. We're going to put it all together, all of these things that we'll explain. And not only that, we're going to actually show you how to track your progress. You'll see everything as it happens, and we're going to share it all for you. So without further ado, the first thing that we're going to cover is conducting a search. How do you actually search for these people? So there are two main options that LinkedIn covers, and one is a basic search, and that is one that you find by clicking on the search bar. And we always say you have to click on people, because if your searches include jobs or content or anything else, you won't be able to connect. So Leonard will stop that entire process. But this is a basic search. If you don't have a paid LinkedIn account, this is what you'll use. But there are two other subscription options with LinkedIn that Leonard works well with, which is Premium and Sales Navigator. Now, we always recommend our users consider buying Sales Navigator. I'll share some of the reasons later on, but I'm going to show you a basic search and what you would do and consider for each. So now we're in the search page. We go to all filters, and the first thing you should really start considering is, what is your relationship with this person? Now, obviously, you're not going to try to connect with people that you're connected with, so you wouldn't choose first-degree connections. But what you would do is choose second-degree connections. Now, what are connections and what are these degrees? Now, every time you connect with someone, they have their own network. So let's say you connected with a friend of yours and this person has 5,000 connections. The moment you connect with them, you now have an additional 5,000 second-degree connections because they're connected to your friend that will appear in your searches. If you want to go one step further and do third degree and everyone else, you're talking about the connections that your friend has and their connections thereafter, and so on and so forth. So the search results grow exponentially, but you need to have some connections obviously to begin with. Some people start fresh with a brand new LinkedIn account and they have no connections. Now, Leonard and the searches will not help you here. You would actually have to manually connect with some people by searching their name, typing in their email to prove that you connect to know them, and then you'll start getting some second and third degree connections. So just consider that when you're starting fresh. But for the purposes of this tutorial, we're just going to go with second degree connections, and we'll show you in a second why. There are other filters here like first name, company, last name, and school. Most people don't use them, but there are some reasons why you would. You know the person's name, or you know the company you're searching for, or the school the certain person went to, or so on. The mostly used one is the title, and you can consider any type of title, whether it's a developer, an architect, or whatever. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to choose CEO as the option, and you can add multiple ones by adding commas. If you actually just want to see connections from someone you know, let's say Bob, who is your friend, then you will put Bob's name and only those connections that he or she has will appear. Location is the most next used feature. Now, we always recommend being city specific. Don't go country because the results are going to be huge. And I'll show you the difference in a second. But for example, I'm just going to choose Hong Kong. You can search for people in companies that they're currently employed in. You can search for people that have been employed in previous companies. But the one other reason why you would use the search is for the criteria of industry. In this particular case, we're just going to choose financial services as an example. You can subsegment it further by language. So if you only want to connect with people that are in Chinese or Spanish speakers or whatever, you can choose that. You also have some non-profit options in some schools. So let's say you went to the same school, you want to connect with them, you can do that so here. But as you can see, there aren't that many options, and that's obviously because it's a free LinkedIn membership. So, they give you what they think is appropriate. But once you've selected these basic searches, these basic filters, you click apply. Now, this particular result, we saw 137. Now, let me show you what happens if we actually did it with third degree connections and more. Now, this would explode to 1,040. Now, that's not huge, but let's say we wanted to go United States as well. Now you're talking about 41,000. The problem with LinkedIn, or the limitations that you have with LinkedIn that not many people know, is that you can only view 1,000 records at a time. They're going to present to you the most relevant 1,000 records based on search criteria, regardless of the membership you have, whether it's basic, premium, or sales navigator, or anything else. So what you want to do is be creative with your search criteria. So you are constantly looking for and finding people with less than 1,000 results. Because if you do more than that, you're only going to see the first 1,000, and then you're going to be wasting the rest. So again, I'm going to remove certain of the filters just to make it easy for myself and to have less than 1,000 records. But again, this is just up to you. You choose how you use it. So that's how you do a search in basic. But if you wanted to go with Sales Navigator, you go to Sales Navigator and you would then click on Advanced, search for leads, and you will notice that there are lots and lots and lots of new filters available. We would again use the second degree connections because that's quite important. You would choose a geography, let's say Singapore as an example. You would choose an industry, let's say accounting. But you have so many more filters. You can narrow it down to postcode, to function, title. Let's again look for CEOs in Singapore. But you have a lot of options. How many years in the current position? How many years in the current company? All sorts of different things. So you have a lot of options that you don't have. You can even search for groups, which is quite powerful. But these are only available to Sales Navigator users. Now, obviously, I narrowed it down a bit too much because it's only 4 records. So I'm going to remove the industry. And although I have just over 1,000, I got 4,700. It doesn't matter because in Sales Navigator, one of the benefits that you have is that you have additional filters. One that is very popular is posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. This is for people that actually have posted something on LinkedIn, which means that they're more active on LinkedIn. And that's very powerful because if they're more active on LinkedIn, that means that they're going to see your connection request and they're likely to accept. So again, you use the filters to your own liking, and that's the purpose of this section of the tutorial. It's all about how to do a basic search. Now there's, especially with Sales Navigator, there's lots and lots more options, but we're going to leave it here because otherwise we're going to get a bit overwhelmed. The next thing we're going to cover is obviously filtering the people you want to reach. Now, there's the search filters that we've just applied, but there are other things that Leonard can give you options to that LinkedIn doesn't, and that's quite powerful. As you can see, this particular person doesn't even have a photo. So what is the likelihood of this person actually being active on LinkedIn? You don't want to waste a connection request to someone that is actually not even there, that maybe created an account 100 years ago and hasn't used it since. So we do have options to exclude these people. Other things that you might consider sometimes is that a person's name, is different. Maybe they have special characters. This guy has got an Apple character. This guy has got Thomas J. DeLuca. Now, one of the things you can do is click on let me refresh here. You can click on the edit button that Leonard provides, and then you'll be able to actually change and put an alias to his name. Now, instead of putting the whole thing, you just put Thomas. And in that way, you'll guarantee that the first field personalization message that it offers is right. It doesn't have funny characters. It doesn't have doctor something or whatever. So you have some quite interesting options. In addition, if you don't like someone that you may know of already, like for example, Arthur, I don't know him from a bar of soap, but if I didn't like him, I can just go, I don't want to connect with him. So I click skip. And Leonard would automatically skip that profile and move on to the next. So once you've done this, you have a couple of other options in the connect feature. And these are connect to premium profiles only, which you can activate, and skip profiles that don't have a picture. Now, how does this translate? If you click on skip profiles without a picture, this person, Peter, will be skipped automatically. Don't waste your connection requests with people that don't have a picture. So Leonard gives you that great option. If you just want to connect with people that are premium profiles only, these are people that have this LinkedIn yellow logo. And why would you do that? And the reason is because if they pay for LinkedIn, and that's why they appear with that logo there, they're more active on LinkedIn. And if they're more active on LinkedIn, they're more likely to accept your connection. So again, these are filtering options that are beyond what LinkedIn has to offer. And I'm going to recap. One is that you can skip people without profile photos. You can also only connect with people with a premium profile. You can also skip people by selecting them if you don't like them. And also, if you wanted to change and edit their name, you can do so using the edit icon. Okay, I'll just move to the next part. Now, one of the most important things that people don't realize is that different LinkedIn memberships have different commercial use limits. Now, what does this mean? It means that for LinkedIn, they have decided that depending on how frequently you use LinkedIn, you should actually pay for LinkedIn. So if you have a basic LinkedIn membership, as you can see, you don't have great search filters, but they also limit you how many pages you can actually view on a monthly basis. Now, these limits are reset every month, but they are commercial use limits. And here's a page on LinkedIn in the search area, in the help section, that tells you what the options are. Now, they don't tell you what the limits are per page, per membership. But what's important to know is that the basic membership has the lowest commercial use limits. The premium membership has got more, and Sales Navigator and Recruiter have got the highest. Obviously, the higher you go, the more you have to pay LinkedIn, but there are some auxiliary benefits additionally from just high commercial use limits. So be very thoughtful as to how aggressively you're going to be using Leonard, because the more aggressive you are, the more you're going to be having to pay LinkedIn in order to use it that aggressively and not get restricted. What normally happens with a basic big LinkedIn membership, if you use it for commercial use, they're going to just restrict your searches. They're not going to allow you, even though you can do 100 searches or 1,000 searches, they don't tell you how many you can do, but they will restrict how many you can see. So they reset every month. So if you've exceeded that in week 1, you got 3 weeks to wait before you can actually do anything else. So be mindful of how aggressively you use LinkedIn and let Leonard do the rest. One of the benefits with Leonard is that it actually recognizes what membership you have, and it will give you guidance as to how many connections you should be sending per day, or how many messages or anything else, in order to never exceed or even reach the commercial use limits. And just to give you some guidance, it uses artificial intelligence. But if you have a basic LinkedIn membership, the recommendation will be somewhere around the 25 to 30 connection requests per day. If you have a premium LinkedIn membership, it's likely to be around the 50 per day. And if you have a Sales Navigator or higher, you can send 100 plus with confidence that they're not going to restrict you in any way, shape, or form. So again, be mindful of this when you're actually connecting with people and trying to use LinkedIn quite heavily. The next thing to consider is the actual messages itself. A connection message starts to tell a story. Who are you? What do you do? And so on. It really starts with your profile. How good is your profile? How does it speak to that particular receiver of the message? And in a different demonstration, we're going to show you some great initiatives and ideas and hacks on how to actually make your profile stand out. But that's a different tutorial. What we want to show you now is really the kind of messages that you want to send, what the purposes of these messages are, and how you do it on Leonard. So let's say I've got 137 people here and I want to start connecting with people. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly choose 5. Now you can change how many connections you want to send on that session by moving the scroller, by double clicking on the number, or by choosing by using the arrows. So for this purpose, I'm just going to choose 5. The next option that you have is the actual connection message. Now, you could use a custom message that you type in here, or you can do templates, and I'll show you templates in a minute. But the benefit of what Leonard has to offer is that it has all of these personalization options. It's first name, last name, the position, like the job title that they have, the company they work for, the industry that they're in, the city, the state, and the country. So you can be extremely creative with your messaging. You don't want to just send a generic please, accept me, I want to connect with you, something along those lines. It's boring, it's not personalized, it's not creative in any way, and it doesn't bring any attention, no matter how good your profile is. Because the first thing that they see is your message, then they will decide whether they accept or not, and they might actually look at your profile thereafter. But if your message is not compelling, it's not going to work. Thing to consider is that you have a maximum number of characters of 300 characters. So you can't make it, your life story. You got to make it brief. You got to make it conversational, and you want to get to the point quickly. So I'll give you an example. Hi, first name. Came across your profile in the such and such industry, whatever that happens to be, and make sure you use the spaces correctly and stuff. And I thought it would be worthwhile connecting. Hope you accept. So this is a pretty basic and generic one. But to give you some insight as to the benefits of personalization is if you send a generic message, you're going to get a sub 10% acceptance rate. So if you just click connect, sub 10%. When you add a personalization with first name or industry or any of these other characters and options that you have available, it can increase upwards of 50%. Now, the average in many cases is somewhere in the 20 to 30%, but it really comes down to the quality of your profile, how you've optimized it, and the people you're trying to connect with, and the message. So as you can see, personalization makes a difference, and you want to actually use it to your benefit to grow your network faster. And that's the end of this area, this section. We're going to cover templates later in the tutorial. But now I'm going to show you the welcome message. Now, the welcome message is all about when somebody accepts your connection. What do you say then? How do you continue the conversation? How do you start nurturing this relationship? And there's many schools of thought. But with Leonard, you can create a custom message or a template, and again, you can type in whatever you want. The idea here is to carry on the personalization and extend the relationship, begin a relationship, start talking to this other person, because you really can't do business with someone you're not talking to. So it could be as basic as thanks for connecting with me today, Bob. Look forward to staying in touch. It could be as basic as that. It could be a little bit more engaging where you're trying to get someone to chat with you straight away. So what do you do exactly? Something along these lines. Or it actually could be an introduction, a formal introduction. You could say, hi, Bob, or first name, thanks for connecting. I wanted to formally introduce myself. This is what I do. I saw that you work for this company, and it will be worthwhile connecting, and let me know if I can help with anything or whatever. There are many options here that you can choose from. So the reality and the important part here is that you need to be creative. Use the personalization options to make that connection more meaningful, and be clever about it. Smart. Why would you do it one way or another? And again, you can have multiple templates. You can have hundreds of them to A/B test to see which one works. But what I'm trying to explain here is that the welcome message should really be a welcome message. You want to appreciate the person for actually connecting with you. The next thing that we want to cover is the automation of the welcome message. Now, one of the beautiful things about Leonard is that you can automate the connection request, and as soon as someone accepts, you can actually automate that message as well. So you don't have to touch LinkedIn in order for it to happen. So let me kind of show you and run you through how that works. So after you've selected your connection message and your welcome message, you then choose a welcome message auto follow-up delay. Now, what you want to consider here is how quickly do you want to send this follow-up message? Is it within an hour, within 12 hours, a day, a few days, a week? Now that's totally optional and up to you. You would have your own develop your own methodology, but we do recommend that you use it. Now, later in the tutorial, I'm going to show you how that actually works. But essentially, Leonard will send this automatically for you after a period of time chosen to send the follow-up message. But you also have the option to turn it off, and there are some reasons why you would want to do that. Because you want to control the communication at the end of the day. Just because you turn it off doesn't mean that you can't send multiple messages at once. I'll show you how to do that in our CRM. But again, don't dismiss the option of turning that off completely. But most people, I would say 95% of the people, would choose to do it automatically because it just saves them time. Now, tagging. Now, that's quite an important feature within LinkedIn, and I just want to be very clear as to what tagging is, what its purpose is, and what options you have. There are two very specific ways to tag people in Leonard. One is what we call Leonard CRM tags, which are only for first-degree connections. The other is Sales Navigator tags, obviously if you have Sales Navigator. And you can tag anyone in Sales Navigator. It doesn't have to be just a first-degree connection. But the difference is that Sales Navigator tags are tagged within Sales Navigator and not in our CRM. So let me kind of run you through both scenarios so you can see. So after you've chosen all of these, and let's say you've decided you're going to send the follow-up message after 12 hours, you will see certain tags here. And I chose a couple here. I added tag number 1, number 2, number 3. Now these tags are specifically for the Leonard CRM. So what you would do is say, okay, I want to send this connection request and I want to create a tag that's called lead. I put tag 1, but you can put whatever you want. So let's call it lead. So you know that once this person accepts, they'll be tagged. They'll be automatically in the CRM with your tag, and you know they came from a specific campaign. And that's very powerful because if you go and look at the connections in your CRM, you can add tags to different people quite easily. And the idea is that you pre-tag them so you can search for them later on very easily. But again, I just want to be very clear that tags, when you send in connection requests, will be added when they accept your connection request. So as soon as they join the network, they'll be tagged straight away. And that's quite a powerful tool because you can segment that list quite quickly thereafter. And Leonard CRM tags have to be added as templates first, which I'll show you in a second, and can only be used for first-degree connections in our CRM. So let me show you the alternative. Now, in Sales Navigator, which is a lot more sophisticated, you have the ability to tag anyone, second-degree connections, third-degree connections, and you can search by those tags within Sales Navigator. So that's one of the great benefits of being a premium customer. So how does that work? If you hover over the 3 dots and go to tag, you would see a number of tags available. So you can, for example, add, customer and apply. Now this person's tagged, and you can take that tag off. Leonard can help you automate this, but you must first of all add the tag here before it's usable. Whereas the other Leonard CRM tags must be added as templates in the CRM, Sales Navigator tags can only be added here. So let's say I want to call that a lead. I created it. I then now want to tag that person. Now, as you can see, this is tedious. I have to go here and there and everywhere. So right now, I don't want to do that. I want Leonard to do the work. So what you would do is you would look at the tags, and as you can see, Leonard CRM tags do not have a logo, and LinkedIn Sales Navigator tags have a logo. And I just added lead, for example. So what you want to do is choose choose the tag with the right logo, and then make sure that you add tags in Sales Navigator. So the beauty about this is that even if they don't accept, you can always go back to them because they've been tagged. You can use tagging with other features like visiting or scanning or all sorts of different things. So what's important here is that you use tags accordingly. But what's most important is that you know the difference between both tags. Now, Leonard tags don't have a logo, can only be tagged for first-degree connections in our CRM. LinkedIn Sales Navigator tags can only be added in Sales Navigator, and the tags have to be created in Sales Navigator. They will automatically sync with all our templates, but they differentiate by having this logo. So as you can see, the use cases are quite diverse. What you use it for is up to you, but having the tagging capability and to be able to do it in bulk is much more powerful than having to tag people individually one by one. It's just a painful process. So that's kind of how you use your tags, and the purpose of them is completely up to you. Obviously, a lot of different people would have different use cases, so we recommend that you come up with one that works for you. The next thing that we want to kind of do is put it all together. Let's just, stop talking about the different options, and let's just run a mini campaign so you can see how it all works. First thing you want to do is go to the CRM. You want to go to templates and start creating the templates of your choosing. Now, there's nothing here. I'll add something very basic. Now, first of all, the title is not visible by the recipient. It is just for you to understand which message, which template you're using. It's important to note that it has a limit of 300 characters. So I'm just going to call this test 1, and I'm going to just put something really basic to show you how it all works. So your profile on LinkedIn and thought to connect. And then you save. I mean, this is just a generic message. You can be as creative as you want, and you have all of the different criteria. But you can add as many templates as you like. You can edit them and you can delete them. Now, please note that if you edit any message after the connection message has been sent, it will not edit what you've already sent. So just to be clear, let's say I use this message now and I send it to 100 people. If tomorrow I edit this message, it's not going to change the message that you sent last time. It's only going to change the ones that you use from this point forward. So it's important to use different templates, to not confuse them and so on, and to delete them if you don't use them anymore. But also, if you delete them, please don't forget that it's not going to delete any previously sent connection request with that template. Okay? Same thing goes for follow-up messages or welcome messages, we call them. You add it, and again, the title, can be whatever you want. Again, not visible. Thanks for connecting with me today. First name. Look forward to staying in touch. Okay, that's the message. Now, you got all these options, so be as creative as you like. You have 2,000 characters to play with. And the other extra bit that you don't have when sending it manually is that you have the option to add a attachment. So if you want to add a picture, you wanted to add a file, a video, whatever you wanted to do, you could do so directly from here, but it can only be done through templates. Now, the other thing that you need or want to consider is links. A lot of people want to use a link to their homepage or to whatever. Because of LinkedIn's restrictions, you must use HTTP before any link. So just make sure that the link that you provide has the full URL and not just something short. A lot of people use things like bit.ly or other shortening links, make sure you include the HTTP before it. Again, you can save as many templates as you like. It's an unlimited amount. Actually, I just closed that incorrectly. Let me, and I'll just save that. You can add as many as you like, and you can use as many as you want. Now with the tagging, again, these ones with LinkedIn logos had to be created or were created with Sales Navigator, and they're automatically synced here. So you don't have to worry about it. You saw that I added lead, and now it appears here. And you can add and delete as many as you like, but you can't edit. Once you've assigned a tag, you can add it or you can delete it, but you can't edit. So just be mindful of that when you're using them. You can add more. So let's say I want to use tag 4, you can add as many as you like, and you can, but these ones that don't have a LinkedIn logo can only be added for first degree connections, and everything else can be done with Sales Navigator. If you don't like that particular tag, you can delete it and everything's okay. And that's tagging. That's pretty much how you do that. And now let's carry on with an actual session. So I'll refresh this so all the tags and all the messages are available. I'll go connect, I'll choose 5, and then I'll choose the invitation message. So I'll choose the template that I selected a second ago. And what you'll see is that it appears here. Now, it's editable. You can actually, although you created a template, you might say, hey, I like that template, but I want to change something and I want to use it. Now, just because you change it here does not change the template itself. It just changes it for this session. So you can play around with all the text, play around with everything before it's sent out, but at least you have the visibility of the template in front of you. Again, you can add as many personalization as you like. The follow-up message is the same. I can just edit it and change it and do whatever I want. Again, it won't change the saved template. It will just change it for this session. And then I'm just going to choose an hour as the delay, and I'm going to tag them as tag 1 as an example. I want to do 2 things. I want to only connect with premium profiles only, and I want to skip profiles without a picture. Now, the reason why you would do that, as I mentioned before, is because if you don't have a picture, they're unlikely to be regular users of LinkedIn. And if they have a premium profile only, it means that they pay for LinkedIn, so you're highly likely to get a response. So we click send, and Leonard would automatically skip those people that don't have a premium profile, move on to the right person that has. It uses artificial intelligence to actually choose a delay in between, a random delay between between connections, and it's chosen based on how you use LinkedIn. It learns how you use LinkedIn, and it will speed up or slow down based on how you would actually do things manually. So it's a great feature. In addition to that, it takes coffee breaks. As you normally would, you might take a phone call and stop doing an activity on LinkedIn. So Leonard can do the same for you. It makes it look natural. But what's important here is that once you start a session, do something else. Do not work on LinkedIn, because that will cause problems. It could stop the session for you. It will more likely stop the session. And you don't want to be working on LinkedIn at the same time as that. So just move on, do something more productive with your time, let Leonard do its work. And when it's finished, it'll let you know that it's finished. And as you can see, it's skipping all the profiles that don't have a picture and don't have a premium profile. It just continues. You'll see that in this particular case, it's skipped because it was going to skip it anyway, but you have all these options. Now, if you wanted to stop the session at any time because you wanted to go back to using it and you just wanted to stop it, you can go and stop it. The beauty about Leonard is that it remembers who you've sent connection requests to. So the moment that you want to start again the next session, you can go back to the same search and it will skip all these profiles that you've already connected with in the past and then move on to the next ones in the filter. Now, you still have to do the search, or you have to save the search and come back to it, but you need to that's how you would start the session again. It doesn't remember where it left off. It just remembers when you start the new session where it should go next. So we're only one profile away from ending this quick session. It was quite speedy, as you can see, but just don't forget that the next time you start the next session, it'll skip everybody that you already connected with and move on. It will not send double connection requests. Couple of seconds left. It's sending the 5th, but I'm just going to stop it here to avoid taking too much time. So that's how you actually do an end-to-end campaign. But now what you want to do really is look at how you track it, where things are, how you manage this entire campaign. So what you do is you go to a CRM, you go to connection requests, and I'll explain what all of these options are. First of all, accepted will show you a list of people that have accepted your connection request recently. Now, obviously, we just sent connection requests, so there are none here. But when they do appear, it will be the name, the follow-up message that will be sent next, and the tags that you've added, and a couple of other options. To be clear, when somebody accepts your connection request, they will appear here. But once the follow-up message goes out, if you've automated it, they will be removed from this tab and they'll be appearing on My Connections. Okay? So as soon as a person connects, they'll appear in My Connections, but as soon as a person accepts, they'll appear on this tab. As soon as the follow-up message is gone, they will not be here anymore. This is just a mechanism for tracking. And one of the reasons why you might want to do this manually is because you want to track everybody before the auto follow-ups are sent. So just keep that in mind. The Responded tab shows you anybody that has received your connection request, who has accepted the connection request, but has messaged you before the follow-up has been sent. And the reason why we put them here is because the follow-up message, the automated follow-up message, may not make sense. You want to actually view the conversation and see if the follow-up message makes sense, and then you can send it individually, or you can send them in bulk, whatever you choose. But what's important here is that you have an option to manually process follow-ups if they have responded to your message first. So you build some context and decide. And then what you can do is, select them and send selected. It's pretty simple. The sent folder, or the sent area, shows you the very messages that we just sent. It'll show you who it's to. You can click on the link here, take you to their profile. The message that was sent, and as you can see, there's personalization. The follow-up message that is supposed to go if they accept, when it was sent, and the tags that you've added to it. You can, if you made a mistake or whatever, you can withdraw them individually, or you can withdraw them in bulk or select it by just doing that. The other benefit of Leonard is that it would automatically withdraw connections after a chosen period of time. And you can activate it here, or you can go to settings and you can activate it here. And what you want to do is make sure that you activate this feature. And the reason why is because LinkedIn, and they don't tell you this, that once you reach 3,000 connection requests pending or sent that have been unanswered, they restrict you from sending any more. They're either going to give you error messages, or they're going to request that you add an email to prove that you connect with them. So they're considering you a spammer if you have too many pending. So by activating this feature, or actually withdrawing a lot of old ones that haven't accepted, gives you that kind of space to be able to connect with more people. Leonard also, we've built it so once you reach 2,500 connections, it won't let you send anymore. We just don't want you to get in trouble. So we've removed that option for you, where if we know that you've got 2,500 or more, we'll just stop you from sending anymore, ask you to connect, because undoing a restriction from LinkedIn is harder than undoing this. So that's kind of the option. So aside from that, I think that I covered pretty much everything that you want to do with the connections. It's all about making sure that you use it wisely, that you use it efficiently, that you are thoughtful about the messages, that you don't just send messages for the sake of them. You want to have purpose and strategy behind it, and Leonard just automates the rest. So Leonard wasn't built for speed, it was built for automation. It's to mimic your natural behavior on LinkedIn so you don't get in trouble with any of the algorithms or restrictions. And you got to set it and forget it. Once you start using it, once you start connecting with people, you just let Leonard do its work. And you can carry on, be more productive with your time, and do other things. Don't forget that if you have any questions, any suggestions, any ideas, please send them through to support@meetleonard.com. We're always happy to hear from our customers, and we hope that this demonstration has showed you exactly how you should think about using the connecting feature, how to connect with people, and the purpose behind it. Have a good day. Talk soon.